million Americans, 100,000 small businesses have permanently closed their doors. And it's not hard to see that we're in the middle of the once-in-several-generations economic crisis with a once-in-several-generations public health crisis. The crisis of deep human suffering is in plain sight, and there's no time to waste. We have to act, and we have to act now. This is what economists are telling us. More importantly, it's what the values we hold dear in our hearts as Americans are telling us. A growing chorus of top economists agree that the moment of crisis, in this moment of crisis, with interest rates at historic lows, we cannot afford inaction. It's not just that smart fiscal investments, including deficit spending, are more urgent than ever. It's that the return on these investments in jobs, racial equity, will prevent long-term economic damage, and the benefits will far surpass the cost. A growing number of top economists has shown even our debt situation will be more stable, not less stable, if we seize this moment with vision and purpose. And so tonight, I'd like to talk to you about our way forward, a two-step plan of rescue and recovery. A two-step plan to build a bridge to the other side of the crisis we face to a better, stronger, more secure America. Tonight, I'll lay out my first step, the American Rescue Plan, that will tackle the pandemic and get direct financial assistance and relief to Americans who need it the most. Next month, my first appearance before a joint session of Congress, I will lay out my Build Back Better recovery plan. It'll make historic investments in infrastructure, that Build Back Better plan. Infrastructure, manufacturing, innovation, research and development, and clean energy. Investments in a caregiving economy and in skills and training needed by our workers to be able to compete and win in the global economy of the coming years. Moody's, an independent Wall Street firm, said my approach will create more than 18 million good-paying jobs. Our rescue and recovery plan is a path forward with both seriousness of purpose and a clear plan, with transparency and accountability, with a call for unity that is equally necessary. And unity is not some pie-in-the-sky dream. It's a practical step to getting the things we have to get done as a country get done together. As I said,
thanks for joining the breakout session, Ensuring Equity in the American Rescue Plan Act, Implementing Historical Government Investments in the South of 2021. The funds are being allocated in two distributions. Half of the funding was distributed in May of 2021, and half is being distributed now and over the course of the next few weeks and months. So by the end of June, all of the funds that were allocated in ARPA will be distributed directly to states, territories, municipalities, counties, and tribal governments. And that's a total of $350 billion across all these levels of governments. One really cool thing about ARPA funds is that there's a lot of flexibility in how the funding can be used. On the right-hand side of the slide, it shows kind of the four main buckets: providing government services up to the amount of revenue loss due to the pandemic, responding to COVID-19's public health impact along with its economic harms, offering additional support to workers who bear the greatest health risks because of their service in critical sectors, and providing funding to critical water and sewer projects along with high-speed broadband infrastructure. Hopefully everyone heard the message from Vice President Harris a little bit earlier today about the importance of internet. All of this work is equity and community engagement. Project guidelines reference the executive order on advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. So that's an executive order that President Biden signed on his first day in office. And that's the standard for ensuring equitable outreach and implementation of ARPA. And I'm going to read off the definitions of what equity and underserved communities mean to kind of give some additional context to today's conversation. So the term equity means the consistent and systemic, fair, just, and impartial treatment of all individuals, including individuals who belong to underserved communities that have been denied such treatment, such as Black, Latino, and Indigenous and Native persons, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and other persons of color, members of religious minorities, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer persons, persons with disabilities, persons who live in rural areas, and persons otherwise adversely affected by persistent poverty or inequality. The term underserved communities refers to populations sharing a particular characteristic, as well as geographic communities that have been systematically denied a full opportunity to participate in aspects of economic, social, and civic life, as exemplified by the list in the preceding definition of equity. So in the South,